Hey and welcome to another tier list video. Now on this channel I've talked about dozens of FIFA career mode challenges and I thought it would be a fun idea to try and rank some of them by difficulty. We've got some really well known challenges today but also some pretty obscure ones, so this could be a really good chance for you to find the perfect save for your next career mode adventure. We're starting off with one of the most famous, the Pentagon challenge, which of course is all about winning 5 Champions Leagues on 5 different continents. This is a pretty tough save, so we're going to put this in A, and it's a difficult way to start this video. It's a really good save actually because you have a minimum save length of 5 years, so if you're somebody that keeps switching around saves and you can't seem to make one last very long, this could be the ideal save for you. You get to use teams and leagues that you've probably never used, and they're assigned to you semi-randomly because you're only relying on job offers inside career mode to move around clubs and move around continents. Some leagues can be kind of boring to play. They might have no stadiums, no money for transfers, or no real faces, but basically every league has something to offer. The biggest problem with this challenge though is that FIFA only has 3 continental tournaments, so that means you have to replace Africa, probably with the World Cup, and North America with just the MLS. I really wish the North American and African Champions Leagues were in the game, and who knows, maybe that could be something that gets added in a future FIFA. But it's a really good save, and it's a good way of working your way around the world to conquer football while constantly changing teams. If you're not a fan of changing teams, then maybe the second save is a bit more up your street. The Youth Academy only save, and I'm going to rank this as a C tier challenge. It might sound really difficult, only signing players from your Youth Academy, but honestly, Academy scouting is now so overpowered that this is barely even a challenge anymore. It's probably more interesting to do a save like this if you only sign players from the free agents who are under 16 or 17 years old. It is one of the most fun ways to play career mode though. Growing Youth Academy players is probably the best thing you can actually do inside career mode. It's also another long-term save where you can grow basically any club from any league into a footballing powerhouse. It's just a little bit of a shame that it's so easy to build such a successful squad with only homegrown talent. If you are into your homegrown talent, then maybe rebuilding a nation is for you. I'm going to rank this one as a B tier challenge because it can be kind of hard depending on which nation and club combination you pick, but if you decide to pick something like Spain and Barcelona, this is probably going to be one of the easiest challenges in today's video. This is all about managing both a club and a national team to try and develop both of them to become really successful on the international and also continental stage. It can be super fun to build an entire nation rather than just a single team because you get to use the nation both at the World Cup and also in the Champions League. In short, it combines the best parts of a Road to Glory with the best parts of an Academy only save into one fun idea. The biggest problem with doing this kind of challenge though is that EA keeps removing nations that are fun to do these saves with. I'd say Ireland is probably now the best nation to do this with on the game, whereas in the past they've actually had a lot of fun doing this with both Chile in South America and of course Japan in Asia, neither of which are in career mode anymore. So the other challenges we've mentioned so far have been very broad and you can use basically any team you want, but for this one you'll have to be very specific because this is the Sir Alex Ferguson challenge. We're going to put this one in A tier and it has absolutely nothing to do with Manchester United unless you're very lucky. So what you have to do is take over the team that's in 18th place in November and try and rebuild them to be more successful than his team was. I really like how you have a very clear goal that you can measure yourself at, which is just a sheer amount of trophies, and you're also playing in one of the most interesting leagues in the Premier League. It's a good way to get a semi-randomized rebuild save that can actually go on for all 15 seasons, depending on how successful you are almost immediately into your save. However, it can actually be kind of hard to get an offer from the 18th place team unless you're already managing in the Premier League. Most of the time, this team will be either Luton or Sheffield United, which are nowhere near as interesting as Manchester United were back in 1986, which was, of course, when Alex Ferguson took over the club. It's much better when a really big team is doing surprisingly badly, and I have seen teams like Spurs and Arsenal be down there at this point of the season. If you can get one of those, it becomes a more interesting but also a much easier save. If you prefer doing a challenge where you move around quite a lot, then I've seen people do the Norwegian Viking challenge quite a lot over on Reddit. We'll put the difficulty for this one at C tier because in this challenge you start out in Norway and try and conquer the Dutch, English, Scottish and French leagues with a core of Norwegian players. I really do like this save because of course Norway do produce some really good players. At the minute of course they have Haaland and Odegaard who have never qualified for an international tournament. The bad part about this is that you won't actually be able to use them for your club until you're at a massive club in a massive league, probably in England or France, at which point the save is nearly over. You'll also have to reload quite a lot of times to make sure you get the Norwegian international offer, and this can take a lot longer than normal because there's a lot of 4-star nations out there that the game randomizes offers for based on your club's ability. It is a really fun idea though around a nation of a couple of world-class players. The challenge is basically a club and country save to begin with, and then becomes a build a nation one once you've left Norway. It's a cool idea for a challenge, but it can become quite easy depending on the teams you pick in Norway, Scotland, France and England. Okay, let's get on to the hardest challenge in this video. I'm giving this one an S tier, and it's the loan only challenge. So this challenge is all about loan players, as you've probably guessed from the name. But they're the only players you'll ever be able to sign in your career mode. That means no academy players, no free agents, and definitely no regular signings. You'll begin in League 2, and you'll try and win the Premier League while never having a permanent signing. If you want to make things a little bit easier, I'll let you renew the contracts of the players who are already at your club, but if you want things to be super hardcore, I'd even veto doing something like that. It's a really good way of doing a more challenging and unique road to glory from League 2 up to the Premier League, and of course a lot of these League 2 teams do already start off with a lot of loans. You can pick up some players that are probably too good for your league, but this is also kind of a con. The AI is actually really bad at deciding which players to loan out, so a lot of the time the players you'll be signing are either going to be way too good and probably too expensive, or way too bad and not really worth signing at all. You're going to have to try and tread the tightrope as you get promoted up and throughout the leagues. So that's basically all of the major challenges that you can do inside FIFA Career Mode. We also have some less known ones that were collated into a spreadsheet by some guy on Reddit who's now deleted his account. This includes some cool challenges, so we're going to have a quick look at those too. We'll start off with the sore loser challenge, and this is definitely an S tier challenge. Basically, if you lose a league game, you have to either resign or get yourself fired. You can lose in the cup or in friendly matches, but you'll only get a single chance to lose at every single team you manage. The challenge here is to try and get as long of an unbeaten streak as possible, and the more games you have, the more points you get. Another good challenge is the Everybody Needs Good Neighbor challenge. The main focus of this challenge is to try and only sign players from neighboring countries, or if you want to make things even harder, neighboring cities. We're going to put this one in D tier for difficulty because it's actually kind of easy if you pick certain nations. Let's say you pick any team in Spain, all of a sudden you have Portugal and France as options. If you pick a team from Germany, you have Holland, Belgium and France, Italy. That gives you so many good players for your save. If you pick a slightly tougher nation, maybe someone like Turkey, you are going to have to try and struggle and find some good Greek players out there, or maybe some Bulgarians or Syrians. It's going to be a much harder save. So that's a decent selection, I think, of FIFA Career Mode challenges. We've reviewed about 10 in today's video, and hopefully at least one of them is a fun idea for your next save. Let me know if you've got any challenges you want to recommend in the comments below, or send them over on Discord, which is also linked in the description. But check out the playlist and the video on screen right now. I think you'd find both of them pretty fun to watch. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.